Hello and welcome to another gentle yoga practice. My name is Angie and I'm going to guide you through the next hour or so. We'll take a deep breath in together. Open mouth exhale. And then join me in a comfortable seat. So find both sit points and try to even out your pelvis. See if you can connect with that grounding sensation of the pelvis as if it were just planted there on the ground with no kind of interference or obstruction. And take another deep breath into your lungs. So watch yourself breathe. One more bright breath into the lungs, nice and wide. And then with the exhale, direct the energy down and try to soften the weight of your legs. We'll take another breath here, kind of bearing down a little bit to feel that foundation in our seat. And then we'll breathe from the tailbone up the spinal column. Let's lift one more breath into the sternum and the throat, so the brightness at the top and the front of your body. And then we'll start gentle circles here. So I'm going to lean to the right, forward, to the left, feeling a little bit in the waist and a little bit in the spine. You might feel a little bit in your shoulders. Keep the breath steady here. We'll take one more loop in this direction. I'm going to switch it out. So other side. You might approach this more slowly than I am. If you're new to this or unsure, you want to stay present to what your body is feeling and respond accordingly. I think I have one more to go. I've lost count, so one more for good measure. And back up to the seat. Let's feel a breath rise. And then I want you to try and feel those two sit points. So as you breathe down, feel the weight, the heaviness, and your body balanced on those 2 points. And then breathe up through the body. We'll walk our hands forward to forward fold. So we're going to go as far as we can go. Walking slowly and supporting our bodies with the arms to alleviate any tension in the lower back. I'm able to come to my elbows. You may be able to go as far down as your chest. I'm going to stay up here. Let's all take a breath into the back of the lungs and then use the exhale to let the head go. Drop it heavy. Feel that release in the body and then take another breath. Good. And then we'll rise just as we arrive, very slowly and with intention, kind of one step at a time. Hands will reach behind you and you'll switch out the cross of your legs. So the first side you came in without thinking about it. This side's going to feel a little strange. Try and find those sit points again. Draw a deep breath into the body and then exhale, try and soften the legs heavy. So feel that rooting down, that weight here, like the foundation of a building. And then we breathe up the body and lift our scaffolding. Skeleton, rib cage, and shoulders. Good. Let's do some little circles here. So I'm going to start with flutters of my fingertips out to the side. This just activates my arms and lets a little bit of energy surge through the fingertips. And then I want to really slowly and gently make some X's with my arms. So we'll start with the right and we'll just kind of X across, like a Zorro slash, if you will, and then around. And then other arm, this will be your left. You're mirroring me and then looping it around. And we're just kind of going gentle, little side body stretch, a little bit of rotation in that shoulder joint. Nothing crazy. And if you're feeling some creaks or pops or meeting some resistance, then please honor that. Don't press through that or push on through it. We'll just do one more. So that was right and this is left. Let yourself settle back on those two sit points like a level. Feel the bubble right in the middle and draw a breath up the body. Walking the hands forward now. Forward fold on this opposite seat will give you a different sensation in the hips. Remember to support your weight with your hands or your forearms so that the lower back is not doing a lot of the work here. And then try to come to a point where you can let the head and neck go. So you feel that length in the back of the body. Breathe into it. We'll rise up slowly, just as we arrived. Bring the feet back, and let's come to our back bodies. We'll do a little bit more laying down. So as you lie down, try and find a comfortable place for your lower back. So you may need to keep the soles of the feet planted, or shove a pillow or a blanket or a towel under the legs. Maybe you can extend to this Shavasana, final resting pose. Let's flip the palms towards the ceiling and take a breath to lift up through the chest. And then exhale through the back of the skull. So as you sort of emphasize that effort, you'll feel a slight lift in the chest and the neck. Kind of go with that for one more breath. Good. Next inhale, draw the right knee to the chest. So you can do that with your left foot planted as well. We'll exhale here. Inhale here. Maybe flexing through that left foot as well to give you a little more sensation. I'm flexing both feet here. So we'll take one more breath. I'm feeling it. And then exhale, release that right foot back to the floor. Inhaling now, left knee to the chest. Maybe flexing those feet. You can just leave them easy if there's a lot of sensation already, but if you need more engagement, you can flex and feel active. We'll take one more full breath cycle. I think that's probably about right, timing-wise. And then a last inhale, so it's your exhale that brings that left foot down. So check in with your lower back. Let's check in with our shoulders. Try to feel open across the chest. I'm even extending my arms out to more of a T here to facilitate that. And then I want to focus on the feet a little bit. So flex the feet right, inhaling. And then we're going to point the right toes. So just moving that right heel, right ankle. And then the other side, so pointing the left, flexing the right. Pointing the right, flexing the left. Keep your breath steady here. Try and focus on that work. Okay, I can feel my calves working. I'm going to do it one more time. Good. And then we'll draw one knee to the chest and then the other. Rolling side to side or rocking side to side. Try and feel this in the lower back and the outer hips. Let's go ahead and take a gentle twist here. So with an exhale, let your body fall to the right. You can keep yourself in a tight ball. You can loosen up to find this twist. Settle your legs, your lower body. And then breathe to open the heart up towards the ceiling and beyond. So we're allowing the spine to spiral here, still early in our practice, so don't push anything. Just explore what is available to you in this moment. Take one more breath. And then we'll inhale to roll or draw ourselves back to center. Let's pause for a breath. And then exhale to the left. Just realized I went to the wrong sides, but as long as you got both sides, you're good. Settle the legs and let the waist feel pretty steady, and then breathe up the spinal column just to see what's going to happen here as you open up into the twist. You'll be opening towards the ceiling or towards your right. Opposite direction. Inhale back through center. And then we'll roll ourselves over to the right and press ourselves up to a comfortable seat. Let's just do a little bit more seated. Find those 2 sit points and draw the soles of the feet together. Let the knees come wide. So again, if this feels pretty intense, you could keep the feet planted, or you could put something under your thighs or your knees in a way that supports you. So I'm going to breathe from the sit points up through my spinal column. And then I want to fold forward. So actually, let's exhale here. And then inhale up the body again. We'll exhale to tuck the chin. So we'll draw the chin in, breathing up the body again. And then exhale to let the heart or the sternum lead you towards your toes. So feel that, try to keep the chin tucked. There's a lot of effort in my spine for all of this, and it's sort of intentional. So take one more breath. And then soften that work in the spine. Let yourself melt into something that feels more relaxed. Head and neck can release. Body can lean forward like we did in those simple seats on both hips. Find your forward fold. Release the effort in the head and neck. Be sure that your lower back is getting some support, that you're distributing your weight. Last breath. Could stay a lot longer. We'll inhale to rise up. And let's come to a figure 4 here. So I'm going to extend, this will be your right leg, if I'm mirroring you, and your right foot to the thigh. Left leg, right foot. Breathing up the body. I want the hip points in contact, and I want your pubic bone, your sternum, and your shoulders to all align with the hips. We'll take a breath here. And then exhale to twist towards that right leg. So this is a slightly deeper twist, but this is our second one. So we'll breathe here. That may be where the work is. You can support yourself with your hands, or you can start to fold forward. Now this is going to wake up some sensation in the hamstring. Feel free to bend that right knee. In fact, it's good to start there so that you can identify the stretch in your hamstring, middle of the muscle under your thigh. And you will want to avoid any intensity towards the knee or towards the hip joints, because those are your ligaments and not your muscles. Find the muscle, and then see if you can direct the energy of your breath to the hamstring. Next time you exhale, see if you can release the head and neck if you haven't already. And let's take one more long breath together. And then rise up. So I'm still facing this foot. I'm going to wait for an exhale to come back to center. This aligns the shoulders back over the hips, and then we're going to switch out the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this leg out and this leg in. You could just as easily gone in first and out. Find a safe way to this other side, and then find your hip points. Draw that breath up the body, and then twist towards that left knee. So this effort of twisting should happen from the spine. Let it decide where it wants to be in space, and then see if you can maintain that. See if it feels sustainable for you. So find that place where you can breathe. We'll take one more breath before we fold. The side's tighter, so I'm going to bend that knee a lot more over here. I want to feel this in the hamstring, not the hip. Also getting a good stretch here on what would be your left side, outer hip. So maybe that's something that's talking to you now. If you haven't already, release the head and neck. I often keep my head lifted so you can hear me on the microphone, but I would want you to fully release. And then we'll rise up. Back to center on an exhale. And let's sweep the legs under us for a tabletop. We'll come to our hands and knees. And find the stable place first. And then we'll do some cat and cows. I'm going to turn around. Cat and cows, you start with the cow shape. Inhaling, heart lifts, chin lifts, so we drop the belly towards the floor. And this is a stretch for the front body. You'll feel maybe a little bit in a shoulder shrug. And then exhaling, we press the spine away like a scaredy cat. Dropping the head heavy, we're seeking all that space in the back body. And those are the basics. We call it cat and cow, but inhale and exhale, it's cow, cat, actually, technically. I want you to do one more of these in and out, nice and easy, gentle and slow, and then pick your favorite, which one your body's like, right, which one it is, and then stay there and take a full breath cycle and explore both sides of the breath in this one shape. Now you can stay here, you can move to the other side and do that work, or you can start to move intuitively. So just closing the eyes and let your body move you a little bit. The reason why we work through the cat and cow pose is to articulate the spine and get the body moving in flow. And I like to offer that same articulation and flow to some of the other joints in my body that are accessible. As long as you're breathing and you're mindful, you're not hurting yourself and you're not doing it wrong. Come back to this neutral, stable tabletop. And let's walk ourselves over off the right side of the mat. So I'm going to walk myself off the long right side of my mat. See, I'm moving away from you here. Keeping the knees and hips where they are in space, I'm starting to awaken a side body stretch here. And I'm going to keep my palms under the shoulders, but if you're craving a little bit more stretch, you can walk your hands farther away from you. Go a little deeper, keep the heart open and the breath steady. I'll take one more breath here. Good, and then we're going to walk the hands back to the center and then over to the long left side. So same work, try to keep the legs, the hips locked in space and draw your length from the right hip point up through the body. Palms can kind of support under your shoulders. You can walk forward for more depth. At least one more breath, timing wise. Last inhale. Exhale, look forward towards the front of the mat. We're going to sweep that right leg around. We'll go to the outside edge of the mat, I think, and then walk our hands forward to what will become a lizard pose here. So I have my palms inside of my right foot. Foot is kind of along this long edge of my mat, and I'm feeling stuff in this inner groin. So I'm going to start by lengthening from the tailbone up through the spinal column. Let's exhale, tuck the chin, so we're not trying to reach for anything here. And we'll breathe again into the inner groin. And stay here, back it up if it's too intense, or come with me. I'm going to exhale, bend the right knee a little bit and draw the hips down. So I'm also supporting some of my weight with my palms, but I'm allowing for more depth in this left side. So that does turn up on the volume on the right. You have to kind of navigate that. Check in with your spine, your heart space. If you've kind of rounded or crunched, then ease up a little bit. Come back to a steady breath. If you went deep, we're going to want to rise up a little bit so our transition feels smooth. We'll lift the hips and send them back as we straighten this front leg. So let's try to keep the right foot planted at first. That offers some sensation here. Check in with your spine, the length of your torso. Feel bright across the chest. You can stay at your edge. You can explore something deeper, exhaling to draw the right hip down towards the left heel or the left big toe. You'll feel what I'm talking about. Keep that right foot planted. Take one more breath. Good, and now maybe flexing that right foot for a change in the sensation. So you can still keep that right hip work, coming back and down, externally rotating that hip to sensation in the IT band, in the outer hip. More length in my glutes I'm feeling here. We'll take one more breath. Oh, baby. And then let's walk forward back to this lizard pose. I'm going to sweep the left foot to the long right side of the mat. So it's a pivot on the knee. I'm showing you a couple of times. And then the shin is parallel with the short side. So it's a side angle. You can rise up here to your knee, or you can keep yourself down. That will depend on the flexibility here in your leg. So we want that depth here in this right side. This is kind of our peak of the sequence. We're going to breathe to lift the left shoulder towards the ceiling, maybe even reach the left arm towards the ceiling. Feels good. And I'm so happy here. I want to flip the palm and take a bind. So I'm going to bring that left arm behind. So even if you're up here, you can bind with us. Elbow bind here. You can even bend the elbow deeper and draw the palm between the shoulder blades. So it'll give you a little more to feel here. One more breath. Good. Last inhale. Your exhale to release. Mindful of that bind. You're pivoting from the knee to come back to this lizard pose. And let's just press into the palms. So find the weight into your palms and sweep that knee back to tabletop. So if that didn't work for you, just find your safe way back to tabletop. And let's take a child's pose. So I'm going to suggest that you bring the knees wide, toes together, and draw the heels back. Wide-kneed child's pose. If this is rough on your lower back, you could try to draw the knees together. And if this doesn't feel good in the body, then just give us a couple of breaths while you stay in tabletop. One more breath here. And then we'll rise up back to tabletop to the other side. I'm going to switch around so that I'm facing you as we move through this sequence. We'll start by walking our hands off the long right side of the mat. So this is the opposite side, or I guess the side we just came from. I'm going to take a breath. Oh, excuse me, this is the side we just came from. We'll take one more breath here. And then exhale, look forward towards the front of the mat. Step that left foot to the outside edge. And then walk your hands into this lizard pose. So support ourselves here, palms or something higher if you need it. Feeling the work in the left inner groin. You can stay right here, or you can allow the hips to come lower towards the ground. So I'm bending into that left knee and dropping the pelvis towards the floor. So I am supporting a lot of my weight with the palms to control that descent. So I'm not just dropping into it, but I'm fine-tuning to feel that stretch. Let's take a breath from the pubic bone up through the front of the body and try to feel bright across the collarbones. If you went deep, you'll want to ease out of this as you transition to a half split variation. Keeping the left foot planted at first, if that's okay in your body, we'll draw the hips back. So you'll notice I have quite a bend in that left knee, no problem, but we're moving towards straight. And today this shape is really more for our hips. So I encourage you to draw that left hip down and back. Back and down. Hopefully you feel me there. I certainly turned up some volume. I'm going to breathe back up the heart to make sure I'm still bright and steady. Feel free to melt forward if you need more depth here in the hamstring. I'm good. And when you're ready, a transition now to a flex foot. So left, on pivoting from that left heel, toes rise into a different sensation in the hamstring and the legs. Keep that hip work. If you started it, you can maintain that here. And try and maintain a steady breath and a wide space in the chest. Last breath. That felt good. For me, I'm going to walk back towards this lizard and then pivot on the right knee. This is kind of a brain breaker, so just bear with me. We're sweeping the right foot to the long left side of the mat. And then if this feels very intense, then come on up. You can be way up here for a side angle. As long as you're feeling this stretch, you're there. Mission accomplished. That's all you need to worry about. I'm going to come down here so that I can feel it in my body. And then I'm going to emphasize that work by lifting the chest open towards the right. So maybe that's enough. Stop or back off at any point. You can reach that right arm towards the ceiling. And if you're still on board, flip the palm, take that bind. L bind or more of a V bind if we're talking alphabet letters. The right palm can slide between the shoulder blades here. One more breath. Feels good. Last inhale. Exhaling, we mindfully release, undoing all this work, rewinding or coming back, and we'll find our way to tabletop, so sweeping. And for good measure, let's get the second stretch here on the left. So walk your hands to the long left side and feel that side body stretch again. Take that breath in the chest. So lots of body awareness here. That's the practice. Good. And then back through center. We'll take child's pose again. So this time, let's keep the thighs and knees together so you can feel the contrast of both child's poses in your body. If you prefer the other version, feel free to move there now. We'll take 2 more breaths. And then let's rise up to tabletop, hands and knees. And then tuck the toes. And we'll lift the knees and hips to downward facing dog. So keep the knees bent a lot, that's no problem. And you can lift the heels off the ground. You don't need to touch down. The shoulders are feeling tight. You might widen the stance in the legs to support more of your legs, or more of your weight in the legs. And you can press the palms into the ground and reach or lift. Slide your chest back. Let's take one more full breath. So inhaling deeply, open mouth, exhale. And then we'll walk our hands to the back of the mat or find your own safe way to a forward fold here. So again, nice strong stance, a little wider if you need that support. Knees bent here to support your weight. And then try to release the head and neck. One more breath. And I want you to bend the knees even deeper, feel rooted in your heels, and then inhale to rise all the way up, slowly rolling to stack one vertebrae at a time. Draw your hands to the heart. And breathe here. I'm going to change my camera angle, so close the eyes or look away if you get motion sick. That's pretty good. Hopefully you can see me. All right, still closed eyes if you're comfortable. Feel the weight of your body shifting into the heels and the outside edges of the feet, and try to feel that evenness between both feet. Now draw a breath from the tailbone up the spinal column first. Feel that middle in your body. Let's exhale through the foundation, so the heels, the outside edges of the feet. We're pouring a foundation. And then now breathe from the arches of your feet all the way up the body. Feel that energy rising, legs, hips, spine, throat, crown of the head. Feel it rise. And then arms rise. And keep my palms together, lifting them up towards the sky. And then a forward fold. Knees bend quite a bit as I honor my body to come back to this fold. See if you can feel supported here. We're just here. Take one more breath. And then walk the hands forward. Downward facing dog. So we're going to take 2 more breaths here. And we'll go into pigeon pose. So I am going to show you an advanced or deeper stretch for pigeon, where you draw the knee towards the right wrist, the right knee towards the right wrist to be specific. Bring the shin down and let the left foot scooch back for a stretch. So if you get here and you're like, yeah, that's just not going to happen, allow me to show you a modification on your back. So I'm turning around. And this for you guys will be right ankle over the left knee. Same stretch here, just not as deep. So you can take this pose, draw the knees closer, then you can control the weight of it a little better. But I'm recommending this pose if your body is flexible enough. So here we go, into pigeon. Sleeping pigeon will bring the body forward so that the emphasis is on the hips and we can soften through the rest of the body. Take another breath. Last one, try and savor it. Good, and then we'll walk the hands back. Press into the palms, lift up to the knee, and we're gonna switch it out. So I actually just came to tabletop. I just didn't even think about it, but that's what happens. You can certainly press back to downward facing dog. And if you're on your back, you'll just switch it out. So your feet will plant and then you'll cross the left ankle over the right knee. But for us, we're gonna take the left knee to the left wrist and then allow that right leg to slide back until you find that sweet spot. So it's a balancing act between the right and the left, the effort involved and the stretch that you find, all of that work, and then you start to ease into it, which will shift things even more. So stay present, try and make adjustments as needed, and see if you can let your head and neck go. When you release the head and neck, you send signals to your nervous system that it's okay to rest and digest and to release tension, and that's what we're going for here. So just give your body that signal. One more breath. Walk the hands back. Just come back to tabletop, hands and knees. And then let's do another child's pose, wide-legged this time. So draw your hips back. You can make this kind of active if you need something a little bit more energizing. So keeping more engaged in your muscles and your bones. You can press into the palms and draw the hips back. Bring an emphasis to the length in your spine, or the sensation, the stretch in your hips. We'll come up to tabletop, hands and knees again, so the knees come together. And then we'll come all the way to the belly. So you can just lower yourself down, maybe come to the elbows first, and then pick your favorite cheek. Let the arms come out to a T or a V, maybe cactus arms. And then slide the right knee out to the long right side of your mat. This is hug the earth. So kind of get that sensation that you're just hugging the earth. We'll take a breath into the back of the lungs, so lifting up through the torso with breath, and then exhale down through the body, so sinking down into the earth with your exhale. Feel that heaviness and surrender to the pull of gravity to give you more sensation in the right thigh, the right inseam. So if you're not feeling enough, you could flex that right foot, hike the knee a little higher, straighten the leg, but just breathing right where you are in a subtle way is often enough. We don't have to push ourselves to the extremes. So gentle yoga is a beautiful gift. Last breath here. And then I want to lift that left knee, or excuse me, bend the left knee and lift the left foot towards the ceiling. Just pausing in stillness here may give you enough to breathe into and notice. Or you could start some movement in that left foot. So back and forth like a windshield wiper or in circles. Notice what's happening in the hip socket and all the muscles and ligaments that are connecting and moving together to create this movement in your body. And then if there is interest or flexibility, or if you're curious about it, you could reach for a bind here. So you'll draw that left foot closer. Either hand, whichever arm feels like the one, whichever one your brain tells you to use, or whichever one feels like it's not supporting as much weight, or again, the one that feels right. You can try both if you're not sure. Give it a test. And this is optional, so just giving me more to feel in my hip flexor and my quad, that front side on the left. Very welcome, but if it's not welcome, then let it go. Take one more breath. And then we'll release. Slowly now, I'll bring your body back to center. So I'm doing right leg, everything back. Let's do a little wiggle of the pelvis, the hips, and then we'll start that work on the other side. So maybe switch to the opposite cheek. I'm going to stay facing towards the camera so you can hear me. But we'll slide the left knee out to the side. Looking for a sensation in that inner groin. You can turn it up as needed. Soften and relax here as best you can. So hug the earth, just melt into it. Let the breaths be strong and intentional. So the body gets soft, but the breath gets really intense, if that makes sense. You can stay just as you are, ease up at any time, or bend that right knee and lift the right foot towards the ceiling. So just that act may have given you just enough more to be curious about or to explore. And if there's more to explore, you can start to windshield wiper or circle that foot. And again, there's no wrong way to do it. It's just an exploration, just pursuing a curiosity about how your body moves, how it is moving in this moment, and how those movements are affecting your physical body and even perhaps your emotional body or your mental state, your mental body. Finally, if you're feeling compelled, you can go for that bind. So the right foot would come closer. So you can take a grab. You'll notice I'm using the same arm on both sides. It's just feeling right, actually. Left arm does want to get involved. So I made it change my mind. That's also very welcome. Stay current. Stay with your flow. This is good. 2 more breaths. Try and savor this last one. Good, and then we'll release. Bring yourselves back to the middle. Let's take a long breath, maybe wiggling the hips. Let's press back to one more child's pose. So give you one more chance to get into the hips of the lower back, a little bit of rest. And then with your next inhale, bring your body up. I'm going to change the camera angle again. Bear with me. We'll come to a comfortable seat, so back to where we started. And let's go ahead and breathe up the body. We'll do a little more twisting here. Actually, let's extend the legs. Just change my mind again. These things happen at points in contact. And I've got a gentle bend in my knees. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but yeah, plenty of room. So I'm not trying to force anything. I'm just trying to feel that length from the hips to the heels in a way that feels long and beautiful. If I press it too far, then I'm cheating, right? So I want this to feel pretty natural. We'll take a breath up the body and let's go ahead and fold. Now that I've gone through all these motions, I'm feeling like I want to just, let that go. So we'll sort of drape our bodies over to any degree. Palms can support you on your way down. Make sure that the lower back isn't doing all the work for you here. So check in and try and ease or redistribute the weight. And then drop the head heavy. And one more breath. When you inhale, we'll rise. And let's draw that right foot to the floor. So this could be enough, or you could cross that right foot over. That's just going to intensify the sensation here. Let's flex through that left foot. You know what? Let's keep it soft because I don't want to do any damage to the knee. So we'll stay gentle here. Hip points in contact and a breath tall through the spine. So I'm even sort of bearing down on this knee or the shin to lift up through the chest. And then I'm going to exhale to twist towards the right. So you might just look towards the knee. You might be able to move a little farther. Or you could twist yourself all the way to the right. So no pressure. Again, try and just let the spine twist you here. So just let the spine tell you where it wants to go. And then let's try to find a brightness across the chest. So your next inhale, from the left shoulder across the right, see how wide you can get. And then maybe exhaling to look over that right shoulder so that you twist into the neck. One more breath. And then we'll release. Unwind, wiggles and shakes. Left foot to the floor. Maybe crossing over, there's room. Hip points in contact, try and feel that stability even in this shape, or again in this shape, and then lift up through the body. So if this feels like a lot of effort, this is really good work of lifting and exercising that perfect posture. But if you're feeling like you want to twist or you want to give it a go, we're just going to turn towards that left knee. So I'm looking towards this top left corner of my mat, somewhere in there. It's totally fine. You can keep going, hugging that knee or even hooking that knee if you have the flexibility. Let your spine guide you here. Stay in tune. Keep breathing. Let's take our next breath from the right shoulder across to the left. And then next time you exhale, you can look over that left shoulder. One more inhale. Exhaling back around. Let's go ahead and come back to our back bodies. Just checking our time. Yeah, we're doing okay. This way. All right. We're going to do a little more for the quads before we go. The hip flexors. I'm going to thread the right foot under the left knee. I want you to grab for that foot and then drop the right knee down towards the floor. So as the knee drops down, if there's any sensation in that knee joint, then let go of that foot right away. And as you lower that knee, you should start to feel a stretch in the quad and the hip flexors, so the top of the right side. The closer you're pointing towards the front of the mat, the more you're going to feel here. So if it's really intense, you could draw that knee out a little bit. Give yourself a little break. All right, we're looking for this gentle stretch. So make sure you're breathing peacefully and deeply. See if you can breathe to inflate this space. You feel the energy of your breath in and out. You can come in to enhance or lengthen the stretch that you're feeling, and the breath comes out to literally carry toxins out of our body. I'm going to stay here for a couple more breaths. You can stay right here, or you can start to draw that left knee in towards the chest. That's just a next level if you have the flexibility or the interest. Right here or wherever you are, just breathing is fine. The invitation to kind of seek that next step if you're ready. One more long breath. And then let's inhale to step that right foot back to the floor. So you'll undo, release the foot and all that. Bring both feet to the floor. And then let's exhale to draw the knees together to the right. So my knees aren't quite together. There's a little stagger here for the space of my hips. But my thighs are more or less stacking and my shins are kind of in order. I want you to find a place where your lower body can rest here. So sometimes it's helpful to roll all the way over and find that stability in the pelvis and the legs, and then start your twist. So feel free to do that. We'll all take the next breath from the tailbone up the spinal column and follow the breath rising to open up to your left. So again, we're kind of listening to the spine or noticing what it's capable of. If it feels tight or restricted, then please honor that. But just kind of flirt with the idea of moving deeper, right? We take baby steps towards flexibility. Should feel good to stretch. So you just find the stretch that your body needs or can handle, and then enjoy that feeling. Honor that feeling as a good gift to your body and your well-being. Next time you inhale, we'll bring it back to center, and this can be nice and gentle, no big deal. We'll plant both feet again and do that quad work on the other side. So with the soles of the feet planted, you've got this little space. I want you to thread the left foot under the right knee. So you're getting the opposite view of it this time. I'm going to grab for the foot and drop that knee forward. So as I do that, I feel all the space open up on the left. My knee is on board, so I can continue to sort of draw a little strength or a little effort into this foot to hold on to the leg and intensify that stretch, right? So we'll take another 3 to 5 long breaths here. Who's counting? Feel that space in your quad, top of that left leg, hip flexor, which is the top of your left hip bone, the left side of your pelvis. And then maybe if there's room to explore, draw that right knee towards the chest. So I'm just going to sort of show you how that works and then come back to where I feel most peaceful, the right foot planted and my breath here in this phase one. Honor your own practice. Take yourself as deep as you need to go. I want one more breath. Feels too good, but we're gonna meet in that twist if you want to get a head start. I'm gonna inhale and plant that left foot. And then exhale to my twist. Knees to the left. You could just drop the knees or you could roll your whole body over to the left if that helps you kind of establish a foundation in the lower half of your body. So from the waist down, the legs, they should feel pretty effortless, like they're just laying here on the ground, no big deal. You know, gravity's got you. And then we'll sort of resist that gravity with the effort in our spine and our rib cage to open up to the right. And this invites that twist. So you can be in control to some extent of how much sensation you're inviting here or pursuing here. And maybe you look over that right shoulder if you want to bring the twist all the way up into the neck. At least 2 more breaths, I'd say, timing-wise. You're welcome to stay tuned in and move when your body sends you a signal. Inhale back to center. And let's take a happy baby. So feet flex towards the ceiling. And if you can reach for those feet, you'll draw the knees down. A little bit more in the inner groin here, a little bit in the hamstrings, maybe something in the ankles and calves. What are you feeling here? I also like the sort of strength, the pressure, the welcome pressure in the lower back for me. See what you're feeling. And we're going to check our time. All right, we'll go ahead and come to our back bodies for our final shape. In Sanskrit, it's called Shavasana, final rest. I want you to make sure that the lower back is feeling peaceful here. It's on board with you resting on your back. So if you need to plant the feet and give yourself a little scooch or wiggle, adjust, please do so to enhance your experience here in stillness. Same with the shoulders and the rib cage. I like to walk or slide my shoulder blades under the rib cage like 2 open palms supporting my chest. And that helps me feel relaxed in the neck and shoulders and at ease with my breath. And then we'll take one more final breath, consciously breathing to fill up the whole body. And then try and sip in a little bit more breath after that. And then even try to retain that breath. Let it swirl around inside of you. And when you're ready, just let the most forceful exhale go. So it's like opening a balloon and just letting it deflate quickly. And I'll give you about a minute of quiet stillness here just to integrate all the work we've done. Try and stay mindful. Bring your awareness back to your body and take a deep breath in and out. And then bring small movements back into the fingers and toes. Same a steady breath as you bring movements up into the wrists and ankles or up into the limbs, and eventually find that full body stretch. I'm already there, taking a breath to feel that beautiful space in the body, and then exhale, rolling to your right. We'll pause here, breathing in, and then exhale up to a comfortable seat. I like to offer aromatherapy at the end of my classes. Looks like we got the sun shining in pretty bright this morning. I hope you can still see my face. I'm going to use lavender oil, but with or without aromatherapy, I encourage you to stick around for another minute or two and kind of take advantage of all the work you've done to relax. Bring the palms together and rub vigorously until you connect with some sensation that may feel like heat or tingling or vibration. And once you start to feel like, hey, am I feeling that? Then see if you can turn up the volume, like increase, ramp it up, and be like, yeah, okay, a little more concentrated, a little bit more powerful. And then what you've got here is the efforts of your practice, all right here in the palm of your hand. So wherever you want to do with it, wherever you want to go, you can just bring the palms to hover over the face and kind of be aware of the tingling, the transmission of that tingling sensation from the palms to the face. It's kind of a curious sensation. You can give yourself a little self-care by tugging on the earlobes if the earrings aren't in the way. And palpate along the edge of the skull or down the sides of the neck in a comforting way. The smell of the essential oil, if you're using it, can be very soothing. We'll take one more breath. Let's bring the hands to heart center today and bow the chin to the chest. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Your presence truly is a gift. Namaste.